What's up guys, it's Cody with Blue Collar Haulers. It's been a super busy summer and so I have been out of the loop on YouTube, but we're starting to slow down. I'm starting to have more time and I've been having a lot of people ask me who built my truck and why it works so good to start off with a roll-off dumpster business from the start, okay? So what we got here is a truck built by Ruble Truck Sales out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I flew across the country, they built it and then I drove it home. Pulled some cans home with me to make the ride a little bit better. And this was in July of 2023. So we are just over a year in with running the truck and it has been excellent. Hasn't been to the shop for anything, nothing's broke down yet. We'll cross our fingers. But so far I've been super impressed with the build by Ruble and the product with Palfinger and Chevy, okay? This is a 2022 Chevy 6500. We're running a 108 wheelbase and we're running a Palfinger HT160. I'm not sure if it's an SL or not, but we haul 12 to 14 foot cans on it and it fits just perfect. We run the Roll-Right DC 403 tarp. This tarp is extendable with the arms. It's hydraulically self-contained so it doesn't hook up to the truck at all. And so you can raise and lower it depending on how big of a can you have. And then these arms extend. And then on the small 12-foot cans, I can drop them. On the 14-foot cans, I can make them longer, all by these two buttons, okay? On the Palfinger, we did custom paint it. They usually come yellow, but we had to make it a little special. So we're running our Blue Collar Blue on our hook, our control box lid, rollers, and our hot bars. That's about it. We haven't done much customizations to this truck. It's really pretty stock, okay? So Ruble, we'll start from the back. Ruble, I believe, is probably the best upfitter in the country right now. There's a lot of things they do really good and that I haven't seen from any other truck upfitters, but they're slowly catching up. People are starting to see why Ruble's such a good truck upfitter, okay? So we'll start from the back. We're gonna start on the bumper. This is fully built by Ruble. This part is all upfitted by Ruble. It's welded to the frame. They put this lid right here, so when you're dumping garbage, if you have any dirty cans and you were running 10-foot cans that would be right here, your garbage is not falling on your backup camera, not covering garbage in your license plate, anything like that. So there's that if you're running 10-foot cans. We only run 12-foot and up cans around here, but it is really nice if you're running those smaller cans, okay? This bumper is built for me to haul trailers. I use a hitch all the time. We'll hook up a trailer and haul a skid steer behind the dumpster. And as long as you keep the dumpster pretty light, you stay under the DOT rules, as long as you're not overloading it with dirt, concrete, anything like that, okay? The next thing is Ruble's got this bar right here. They got the DOT tape on it. And while you might see that it's not really necessary, as soon as you've got a can on the truck and you're tarping it, it's really nice to jump on and fix your tarp when it's at the back of that can, okay? The next thing I really like about Ruble's is the light pack. So they're running a 6-way light pack on the truck, which means this is a daylight, night light, turning, so it has all your signals in one, as well as your reverse lights, okay? So they're super bright. They're the brightest lights I've seen on the road, and I really like it because I can't not be seen at night. It catches your eye. They all work together, and so when I put it in reverse, it gives me LEDs to back up, see what I'm seeing, and then turns, night light, daylight. And then I believe the new ones actually have a amber flasher in them. But since they weren't out when we did it, we have the flasher right here. And then we have added those on each side as well as 4 in the front of the grill. So when we do pull into the driveway, we turn those on, we look professional, we're safe, we are in the middle of the road when we're backing cans into driveways, so we want to be seen by all surroundings of people, okay? Ruble did put their custom built wheel wells on them. These are, I don't know if they're stainless steel. I think they're stainless steel wheel wells. They're really good. They're low around the wheel so you're not flicking mud everywhere. They cover the wheels well. This side we're actually missing my mud flap. I probably tore it off in the last couple days. But usually there's a mud flap that covers it so it keeps your light pack away from mud, rust, water, everything that's flicking up on the road as you're driving down the road, okay? Our tarp is mounted to the wheel well brackets, which I really like because it gives you that much more space on your frame, okay? Your typical truck, you're gonna see these tarp mounting brackets come out separately from the wheel well, and with them being on the wheel well brackets, it gives you that much more space if you wanted to run a toolbox, if you wanted to run a spill kit on there, anything like that, okay? It's really strong. They do 4 bolts onto your frame as well as your hoist. So I've been super impressed with those. They don't rattle, they don't shake. Everything's really good without rattling. We have actually had some rattles that I've figured out on the hook. So where the hook is an adjustable 3654, this jib, this is the jib right here, but this slides up and down. So these 2 pins go down to right here to make it a 36-inch hook, okay? I was on the phone with a buddy this week and I was telling him how that my only rattle on the truck is on this extension. So I was like, if I build another truck, I'm only gonna go 54. And he's like, well, that hurts your resale value because some people that buy the truck are gonna be potentially wanting a 36. And I'm like, well, you're right, but listen to this. And I shake my hook and you'll hear that. It's pretty loud. And he's like, dude, that's totally missing some slides. So I'm gonna contact Ruble as well as Palfinger, see if we can't get some slides to make that quiet up so it's not as loud. They're usually running these composite plates. No, they're not composite. Some sort of plastic, so it makes it a fully greaseless system. This Hooklift has no grease on it. The truck, the only part of this hoist that has grease is the tarp right here. The entire hoist is greaseless, so as you're walking around your truck, you know, fixing ratchet straps, checking the door, you can really see that there's no grease on these wheels. So every time you brush past these on a normal truck, you get grease on your shirt. I like to wear nice button-up shirts. I like to look classy. And with grease head to toe, it doesn't look that good. So I'm a really big fan of the greaseless system, okay? Moving on, Ruble had put a Camlock toolbox on. It's a more expensive toolbox, but I really like it because it keeps my stuff safe in here. There's a few things I'm looking to add on my next truck, so we'll break it down really quick. But what I run in my toolbox is I run a couple pairs of rolly skates. I run the flexible winch rope, so when I get stuck, this rope, I don't know what they call that it stretches, so it's not like you're hooking a chain to your bumper, right? But it flexes. I run a ratchet strap. I run a little Craftsman toolkit, and I use it a lot more than I think, whether it's doing junk removals at a client's house or, you know, tightening tarp bars, dumpster bolts, whatever you need. And then I run a first aid kit up top. So my next upfit, what I would love to see is to build a Milwaukee pack out bracket right here so I could run my first aid kit on my pack out. We do live in Logan, Utah, which is like basically the safest place. So I've never had any problem with like robbery or anything. But I did talk to a couple guys that are like, well, you need to consider that. But I would love to see a pack out mount right here. And I'd love to add a rolly skate bracket that holds all my rolly skates so I can open up this toolbox, okay? The only other thing that I could see wanting to add is a spill kit, which I don't run on my truck. So what those are for is if you have your hydraulic tank, you tear a hydraulic hose off, you're gonna spill hydraulic fluid and you get fined super fast. It's a really big fine, and you basically have, we had a buddy in California that he had like tens of thousands of dollars on fines for spilling just a couple of gallons for hydraulic fluid. So I definitely need to add a spill kit to the truck. So that's on my to-do list, as well as that pack out bracket, rolly skate bracket. The only thing I've added is a shovel mount. And so I added, I don't know what these are called, but I added this to hold my shovel because I'm always using it to clean out my dumpsters. I want all the dirt, the grime cleaned out before I go to the car wash, so I'm not, you know, flushing all that into the car wash bay. Okay. Take into account this hoist does adjust, as you see right here, so you can't drill into this. So I actually ran hose clamps around it, because if you drill into that, you're going to be drilling into your adjustable gantry, is what they call it. Okay. So we really like the shovel mount. I wouldn't say it's 100%. But in the future, I'd love to figure out something a little stronger, more safe, and I mean, it looks okay, but I'd like it to look a little more professional, okay? In Indiana, when the truck was built, it was wrapped professionally by a shop there, and they did a killer job. It looks really good. I like the rustic look. It kind of rolls with the way I've built my business brand. And then I still run clean from the back. My paint looks good, so people can really tell that it's a wrap. and everything else looks clean. The big thing on wraps is they might be inexpensive up front. It's good branding for your business, and when you go to sell this truck, you peel this off, it's brand new paint. So people really like to know it's been wrapped from day one, so it's going to be really clean when you pull that wrap off. All right. Everything's stock up front. I added some spikes. Ruble's put Alcoa wheels on for me. I haven't changed the tires from the factory. When I do, sorry, we got a loud semi. When I do, I think I'm probably going to put drive or steer tires up front and then put some beefier tires in the back for winters. Winter's really harsh around here. I'm dealing with a lot of mud every day. So I'll probably put something a little beefier up in the back and steer tires up front. But the reason this truck is so valuable for me is it's four-wheel drive. And it's pretty much just about the biggest chassis truck you can get that's still four-wheel drive. So we still got manual locking hubs on it. Anything bigger than this truck, so this is a 23.5 truck, anything above 26K trucks, they typically don't make four-wheel drive, which is a huge deal for where I live in. So I really was looking at the Isuzu FTRs, the NPRs, those kinds of routes of trucks. They're just not four-wheel drive, and they will not survive in the condition we live in. Okay? Going inside the truck, Chevy does run a clutch pump, and so you don't run your PTO, you run a clutch pump to make it so you can run your hoist in park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Now, if you buy a truck that doesn't have a clutch pump in a Chevy, you're not going to be able to run your hook when you're in all those driving positions, and that's pretty much fatal for your business. Okay? So when you start the business, you can screw up a lot of things, but if you screw up the build of your truck, you're pretty much out of business because you're not going to be able to make money. The second thing is dumpsters. You have a good built truck and good built dumpsters, you can screw up anything and you still have a way to make money no matter what. You can screw up your website, you can do all these things, and I've made all these mistakes, but having the right built truck is the real money maker, and it can put you out of business if it's not done right. Okay, so we do run a clutch pump. Ruble did all that. They showed me the install, and they actually they built this post right here. This is mounted by Ruble. I really like that they run this, so your controller sits on it. So I run my Palfinger, it's an electric controller. I don't have any air or hydraulic cables in here, but they put this post in here so it's not flopping around, getting stepped on, getting muddy, getting broken, anything like that, all right? Going up front, they did add 4 strobes on the front of the grill, and I really like the placement of them. They put them in, they look clean. When I turn them on, they look good. They're adjustable, you can change the color, you can change the pattern, things like that. Yesterday, I actually pulled up on an accident on one of our main roads. A semi had lost a sheet of steel, and we actually brought the skid steer over, dropped it, basically parked the truck in the middle of the road, so we had the strobes going on, and then we pulled the skid steer off and was able to clean up the road. But I really like strobes because it makes people alert that something's going on in the surroundings, they need to be paying attention, all right? The only other customization I've done to this truck is running a United Tarps tarp from George. He's a super good guy. I met him the first year I went to Waste Expo, so I run the American flag tarp. I think it's their first edition tarp, so the stars are in the back, and I've gotten some hell for it. So in the future, George is now building the stars in the front of the tarp, but people love it. You know, people always bring their opinion. They're like, hey, your truck is really, you know, unique. You're running the flag, you're running the rusty wrap. Some people see it and be like, how old is that truck? And you're like, it's a 2022. It's brand new, but the wrap looks really good. It makes it look old school. The wrap shop even put some rust down the side right where the mirrors are. Like, it looks really authentic, but it's still a vinyl wrap, and it cleans up really well. Okay. The truck does have an air tank, which I've heard not everybody's does. I really like this feature because in the future I would like to add air so I can air up my tires. Maybe an air horn, because there's 2 really big problems with this truck, all right? Your first one is your weak ass horn, all right? So listen to this, because it's going to make you feel like you're a woman driving it. That does not get people's attention, and so in the future I'm going to be adding an air horn to whether it's this truck or the next truck. So there's the first con of this truck. The second which it's not controllable because you're running a Chevy 6500, is it's a pretty rough ride, all right? Like I said, this is an under 26K truck, so they don't run air seats in them, so it's a rough ride. And everybody that drives that notices that the first thing off. When you're running empty, it's pretty jumpy. Our roads are pretty rough here, but as soon as you get a can loaded on that truck, it rides like a dream. Until you get that can on, it does ride rough, but there's wins and losses on it. All in all, it's the best truck I've ran. I really like it. It was upfitted right. The tarp is close, so you're not losing space between your cab and your tarp. The hook comes close. This is just about as close as we wanted it. During the upfit, we did have some hiccups, okay? I think I was the first couple of guys to run dual combo lifts on the dumpster. So I run hook lift and cable lift dumpsters. And what that means is when you have cable lift, you have to have a front that's rounded so they can roll up onto that hoist. And that problem is Ruble had put the new Palfingers have the hydraulic tank mounted up on the frame, so there's nothing below the frame, okay? Problem was, when you hook that dumpster, the front of the dumpster will typically sit here. My nose rollers sit about here, and that would have pierced my tank, so we ended up moving this below frame. That's kind of my special thing, is because I'm running dual lift. I highly recommend doing that because you never know when you're going to come across a good deal on a cable truck, which I did. And so I'm glad that I've built my cans capable of doing both ways. I can pick up my hook lift cans, we call with a Chevy, and then I can get in my Peterbilt. I run a tandem axle cable truck, and I can pick up those 14-foot cans, even 12-foot cans, and run them on a 22-foot frame, so we can, be efficient in both trucks, right? The Chevy obviously can't pick up 30-yard dumpsters because of the length. I run 22-foot dumpsters, but it's built just to haul the little cans. It's not built to be hauling, 20 yards of concrete. So we built each of our cans specific to this truck. So our concrete cans are 12 feet long, and I think they've got two 24-inch sides, and that's about a 6-yard dumpster, and that equates to about 5 to 6 ton max. I've never had anybody put more than 5 ton of concrete in the dumpsters. Road base and dirt, it does get heavier faster, okay? So my concrete can is built to fit this truck. It's built so we don't ever overload this truck, put it in a bad situation, anything like that. And this is technically, Palfinger calls it a 16,000-pound hook. What that means is at 36 inches, it's capable of lifting 16,000 pounds. At 54 inches, it's capable of lifting 20,000 pounds. You never want to put that in your truck, but there have been times that I've had to use it to get concrete emptied out of some cans that we weren't planning on putting concrete. And so that hook has lifted it every time. I've never had a problem with the hook, okay? 54 is a really good number because if you go up to a tandem axle truck, you can still run 54. No tandem axle truck runs a 36-inch hook, okay? The reason I'm not in love with 36-inch hooks is you lose strength, like I said, and then if you run a bigger truck, that hook, you're going to be trying to pick up a 36-inch dumpster below your bumper, so when you're looking at that cab, you can't see it. 54-inch hooks, you're always able to see. They even sit a little higher. They sit about there. And you're always able to see them when you're picking that can up, okay? Other than that, I like the way the bumper's built. Like, I've put some cans on a frame a couple times, but I've never had my bumpers hit here. You don't want your dumpster to hit here, so it's shortened. I've never had any dumpsters hit here, fall off the hot bars. They're laid as far back as I can, so if I do run hot bars on a bigger truck, I can run them further back on that 22-foot can, so they're pretty far back on our 14-foot cans, okay? Our fuel tank's in the back. The truck is just built really good. I'm really happy with it. I have nothing bad to say. The only problem I've had is trying to find a Chevy dealer that will service this truck. So when you buy the truck, plan on finding a medium-duty Chevy dealer because they're going to be doing your oil changes, and we don't have one in our valley. And so I basically want to, get a warranty, so I've been taking it out of town to get those oil changes, all right? If you are looking at building a Chevy 6500, any type of hook lift, make sure you do your homework. There's a lot of things to learn on this truck. There's a lot of things that you can do wrong and a lot of things that the upfitters can do wrong that put you out of business, okay? No matter the way the bumper's built, if the lights don't look good, you can get in a wreck. My previous trailer that I ran my dumpsters on, the lights were placed in the wrong spot and I got in a wreck and I was fined for it. So it's really important that when you upfit the truck, you look at everything as far as safety, use, everything like that, okay? The Chevy's been a great truck. It's a safe truck. It puts me in a good position. And it's really the best starter truck you can do after, you know, maybe starting from that trailer, okay? If you guys have any comments, I'd love to hear them. Questions, I'd love to hear them. Reach out to Ruble. I've had great luck working with Jeff and Tony. And Tony's son just started working as well as a salesman. They've been really good to me. They've always got these Chevys on the ground. And they're also, they have a couple options. You can run Stellar, Palfinger. We've been talking to Grimaldi. They're building a great hook lift as well. And so I'm really excited to go and run that Grimaldi hook. I'd love to see the differences. If you're running a Grimaldi hook, let's talk, because it's a really cool hook lift. But we've been blessed by being able to run everything and have it work great. And so I don't think there's anything we change different on the truck. Just starting to add more ideas, you know, different lights. I'd love to see some strobes halfway on the truck, so if you're in the middle of the road, you can see it coming this way. But other than that, it's a great truck for starting out. Reach out to Ruble and reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.